Where was that container anyway? I don't remember. Go down here. Oh, almost forgot the money here. Can't be doing that. We need it. This container? No. Down here? Actually.
You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly.
Persuade the door to open.
Why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric?
Because getting physical wasn't an option?
Because what wasn't an option?
Using my body over my wits.
Now is not the time to get philosophical, detective. You can do that after hours.
Alright. We'll come back later. For now, let's talk to Jean-Luc. And get him to get the body down from the tree. Through so many different loading screens. I think I'll just save up skill points for a bit and use them when I need them. Alright. Jean-Luc. You're Jean-Luc, aren't you?
The unpromising race pupil returns.
Evrard told you to help us get the body down from the tree.
So it was. My unpromising race pupil entered the harbor and used my superior to give me orders. I salute your cunning and will remove the body from the tree with my bare hands.
Sure.
You're so noble, Measurehead.
There's a but.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on the bridge. That someone needs to be you. Both of you.
That would mean you're openly showing the people that you're taking the Union's side.
Lieutenant, what if we don't want to do that?
This is the uncomfortable result of not taking it down ourselves. I can live with a compromise.
Listen to your little friend. He is wise in his childlike way. His mysterious race may yet prove fierce competition to my heroic haplogroup.
Okay then, if Kim's fine with it, I'm fine with it.
Babe, see that they stay here the whole time.
Let's see how long that takes. We better get going quickly. We don't have all day. We're on a timer here.
The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
So, you guys are like cops or something?
Apparently so.
Cool. I like men with guns and power. I'm Katya, by the way.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
The tree,
Yeah,
probably.
Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
I also wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everard's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
And who are you? What is your business here? Why are your clothes 4 sizes too small for you?
I'll work with whoever I want.
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's Kuno. Then, the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with Ray's victory today.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Farewell, ham sandwich. You are a Union man from now on.
We'll see about that. Either way, we've got what we wanted. So let's take our key that we also need. If you would be so kind as to give that to me.
So, how'd you like our harbor?
You've been in there, he means. Talked to the boss man too, probably.
It's nice enough.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains.
He notes solemnly, then turns to you, a wide smile adorning his face.
Right. You talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plain. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk.
Any idea who killed the hanged man?
The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing?
He shakes his head solemnly. The merc was hanged with a very specific type of a cargo belt, one often used in heavy transport areas, for example, harbors.
What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course.
Pushed? How?
Your dead guy was an enemy combatant.
Hold up, what does that mean?
He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts.
Did you kill him?
I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
He's not lying about not doing it himself.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search.
He takes a sip from his flask. Everett said you have a key to a door.
A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open?
He said it belonged to a weasel.
Oh, say no more. I got you.
He taps the side of his nose with a little wink.
I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say.
I heard something about a weasel, and it didn't sound like a local polar weasel, if you know what I mean.
Polar weasel? Oh, I know what you mean. I'm pretty sure he's actually Occidental, though. So you're gonna be committing fratricide, my racist friend.
I'm not racist.
What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the whirling in rags. That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized. Means we keep out of each other's business.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. We talked about life and things that really, truly matter.
His gaze wanders off into the distance.
None of this mess we're in. This jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess.
Anything else I should know about this task, this weasel person? When he'll be home?
I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are, what we are fighting for.
The man takes a big sip from his flask.
He means he's not going to tell you, cause he doesn't know. But he will shoot his mouth off with you now that you're working for Everard. Who he is, and what they're fighting for. This is interesting.
Why are you striking?
We're negotiating our share.
Your share?
Aye.
He seems pleased with himself. How large a share would you get? Or would you like?
All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process.
This seditious talk sounds like communism. Just so we're on the same page, communism is basically wanting to kill the rich people or deporting them to a labor camp in southeast Grad. But don't say that out loud if you're a communist.
Bossman, Everard, what can you tell me about him?
I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer and a decent businessman.
What does bossing the union entail anyway?
I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes deals with the owners or other relevant parties, watches out for his own.
By that, you mean corruption?
By heavens, why would he not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see? And in this world, the old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. Appreciate it even. He is, personally, not too lavish.
That desk seemed lavish to me.
He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion. Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway. And moralism is the most corrupt of them all.
Not you would like to say. But then there's that weasel door. This man has political theory, and it has not failed him today.
Are you a communist?
No. I don't think I'm a communist. Seeing something of value and saying I want it all to myself is a much older and simpler notion. No science to it at all. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't.
Cool, I don't have anything to add to that.
A none of the above kind of man. No harm in being that.
You seem to have spent a lot of time thinking about the political situation.
Sure, I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
The look in his brown eyes conjures up an understanding. For him, having command of his time is the most important thing. It all comes together now. The way he speaks about scabs, his general attitude. He's a follower of a 500-year-old Franco-Nigerian Boyadero code, itself an appropriation of Vespertine cool. That of a noble peasant or a traveling herdsman. True to yourself, independent in your actions, loyal to your friends.
Maybe I'm a boyadero?
No.
But
No. The man sits on the railing, his hands reaching far and wide, yet it feels as if he could effortlessly go even wider, if need be. An endless torrent of time.
actually, do you know anything about the Hardy Boys?
Los Ardis? They're an independent militant group. A bit too high-strung, but it comes with the responsibility. They're sort of like you. Preserve the rule of law and all that. Except it's Everard's law. But really, they're just like you.
Is he actually comparing you, an officer of the law, to some neighborhood vigilantes? Come on. He's just trying to keep the peace.
There's only one law friend, and that's me.
Why not? Must be nice being something else for a change. The rest of us are just folks.
Good talking to you. Gotta run. And where do we gotta run to? Do we go into the whirling in rags first, or do we go to the dead body first? Probably a good idea to take the body first. I don't really want to know what Kuno is going to do to it otherwise. Kuno, leave the body alone. Oh, he's sad now because he can't throw stones at it anymore.
The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Beautiful.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy.
A field autopsy?
Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
I see.
The RCM's 4-phase murder scene processing manual.
The fuck are they on about?
Cop's gonna cut his shit up.
Don't we have someone else for this? A doctor?
No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain, from autopsy to cleanup to social work, everything.
Wait, honorary rank of detective?
An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you've proven yourself able, usually after 5 to 8 years of field work. Mine is lieutenant detective.
Yes, I feel like a detective.
You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now,
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
First, what exactly is a field autopsy?
come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Muindi, is the world's highest summit, and the failure of the 38 single, Epui Descent, to crack the top 20 was the death knell of disco. But what a field autopsy is, you have no idea.
Why don't you know? What use are you?
You must have me confused with the Copperpedia.
Who's the Copperpedia? I think I need to talk to him.
You, sir. You
Oh.
are the Copperpedia.
Do you have another pair of gloves?
Unfortunately, no.
I have gardening gloves. Maybe they are enough.
They are better than nothing. Tell you what, I perform the anatomical side of things while you will take notes.
We just fill this in, right? Show him the red Field Autopsy form in your ledger.
That's right.
Open your ledger at the Field Autopsy form.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with
1. Assistant.
That's you.
Right, Harry Dubois.
the corpse is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The next box says
Coroner's case number.
KK57-0803.0815.
You just know that by heart, Kim?
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi.
Oh.
57 equals
There.
Precinct 57, followed by his date 0803 and time of arrival 0815 on the scene. He's indexed the case after himself, not you. That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
Write it. Shouldn't we file the coroner's case under me? Technically, I arrived at the scene before you.
And what would that make the alphanumeric?
I have no idea.
I do. KK57 dash
Yes,
Next.
I'll write it down. Name.
NA. Next.
Date of birth.
NA.
Age.
Roughly 50.
Try 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side.
I'm gonna write about 42.
He nods.
Race.
Mondial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Mwindi. This is as vague as it gets. You might as well say whitish.
Write it down.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Sex.
Fucky, fucky!
The little monster exclaims energetically.
Male.
Pigs can have sex?
Right, male.
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
Date of death.
We're still going with March 4th. 51.
Write it
What
down.
else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
Wasn't it 0803 before? It's too far gone. Evidence of treatment.
None. At least not after the initial examination.
I'm not so sure. Didn't the footprints look like he was carried over?
They'd have to have incapacitated and carried him over. This man was more than a match for untrained dogwalkers.
He places his hand on the dead man's chest as if in preparation.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then, somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else.
You know, the more we hear, the more I feel like Esprit de Corps is just entirely useless.
And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today. 42 stations of breath.
We should start the postmortem.
Turn the page.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
External examination summary.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
He turns the body onto its side to check the underwear label.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
Write it down.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
No, we'll write it down.
The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. The number is purposefully concealed by the design. Tattoos.
He stands up, feet planted on either side of the body.
The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini.
Write it down.
The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age 42. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short. Lividity is consistent with hanging, albeit faint, as noted. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs, consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation.
Write down.
Ligature mark.
The lieutenant produces a small folding knife. With the other hand pulling on the belt, he starts cutting into the polyester. The stench is horrid. After a while, it's obvious the material cannot be cut.
The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Oh yeah, I'm prepared.
The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
Good thing we got these chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now,
He points to the rope squeezing the dead man's neck.
we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
Oh, Look for a good spot to cut.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. Would it be a good idea to cut the knot instead of the belt? Seems the more conservative approach.
Physical instrument. Let me actually... Oh, it looks like I cannot actually change my equipment while I'm doing all of this. This is not good. I'm not your pig, Kuno.
You are? You're Kuno's pig?
Concentrate on the belt, not on who is whose pig. There is no pig. There are only the chain cutters and the belt.
Alright, we'll give it a try.
You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere there. Already they're buried deep in the man's flesh. Then you rotate them to get a better hold. Then
Rotate some more.
A really, really bad smell is coming from there now. And some kind of cracking sound.
Enough. Cut some.
Yeah, fuck him! Fuck that faggoty! Corpse fucking time!
Told you my pig was hardcore.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
He steps in and takes the chain cutters from you. Alright, go on.
He sinks the cutters into the knot, preparing to perform the cuts, with his elbow to his knee for precision. Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
Here.
He hands you the chain cutters back and then kneels closer to the body, running his finger along the dark red grove, until he comes to a gap.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck, on the nape. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters.
Write it down.
Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia.
He pulls down the man's underpants.
No! Let's get out and see!
I fucking knew it!
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
Write it down and move on.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
This scarring is extensive, way more than a law official's.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars.
Write it down.
Last item. Hands.
He takes the man's right hand in his, inspects it, then moves on to the other hand. Let him do
Hands
the
are
work.
clean. No sign of a recent struggle.
Were we expecting any?
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment.
Write it down.
Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Internal examination, summary.
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
If I may add the moral of this story.
What would that be?
He looks at you inquisitively.
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of his story.
The brain is very vulnerable to compromises in its blood supply.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer.
The lieutenant grins. All right, N.A.
Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system.
Back hunched, as if in prayer, he begins to pry open the dead man's jaws. He stops to exert more force. Both hands are used.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth. Hepatobiliary. NA.
Why? Don't we have anything?
Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
He looks at the corpse's stomach with a mixture of tiredness and disgust. I don't think so.
Neither am I.
Okay.
Same for toxicology and serology. NA.
Both?
Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there?
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
Completionist in me wonders if there's something we could still do.
Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request.
Write NA and add toxicology requested.
Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. hypostasis is visually consistent with a hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Gastrointestinal.
He breathes a sigh of approaching relief. This is the last field on the list. He looks around to the ground, the pool of feces there.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila.
He touches the corpse's bloated lower abdomen, briefly. Write it down. Keep the voila.
What's next on the list?
Description of injuries. Summary.
Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too.
What about the injuries we have inflicted?
Oh, so we inflicted them?
This is a team effort.
You mean the spin-stabilized munition from a Kill A990 muzzleloader lodged in his lung?
For example?
Or the incision on the thorax from a chin cutter? Neither was a team effort, and I wouldn't mention them. Muddies the water.
So, back to injuries.
Injuries.
Bite marks.
Head, chest and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer?
Beneath the description, there are 2 boxes waiting to be ticked. Non-fatal. Postmortem.
Agreed. Next injury?
Contusions.
So, the scalp bleeds from a postmortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it postmortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Write it down.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath the description of injury. 2
Non-fatal.
boxes.
Postmortem.
Right. Next.
Ligature mark.
A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
Opinion. Fatal injury.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over.
First, how did it go?
Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks, if we are lucky. I will not hold my breath.
What else?
We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
What now?
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg.
Rip out a copy of the autopsy pages.
For processing.
He looks at the dead man one more time, then at the slip of red paper in his hand, then at the corpse again.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse. I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something.
Stop wasting time, you're smart. Yeah, sure. Let's bag him, take him away. I mean, I can look. Is there anything negative to doing it? Oh, screw it.
You run your hands
Okay.
over the victim's cold body, his limbs, his torso with its swollen organs. Maybe you should be more thorough.
I don't want to be more
The
thorough.
corpse seems to yawn contentedly, as though it's glad you've run out of steam.
Do you think we missed something?
You can't shake the feeling that there are more secrets concealed in the flesh before you.
No, let's just leave it to the processing guys.
I worked as one of those processing guys for a year. They are butchers and clowns. I once saw 20 CODs go misidentified in 1 week. Chances are slim to none that they'll find anything useful in processing. In short, you and I are the last line of detection. If you're not sure we got everything, we need to look again. And for that, we need to refrigerate the corpse.
You mean in a bare fridge?
Hey, wasn't there a giant ice bear sarcophagus below that
Yes. He points toward the commercial area. Why, yes, there was. So that's what the ice bear-shaped refrigerator is for?
building? Now, that's an overstatement. It's not actually for storing cadavers, or at least I hope so. I think we should take a look at it first. Make sure it's big enough before we carry him over. Let's move. With every hour, whatever we are looking for in the deceased will become harder to find.
Okay. Now where exactly was that again? Actually, I want to speak to Kuno briefly.
You missed a good show before. A kid came by and completely fucked the tree to pieces.
He fucked the tree up! Fucked it good! It was porno!
You need to act decisively. It's Kuno. Use Kuno words.
Total retards use language like that. Congratulations, Kuno, you just made yourself a retard.
Stop choking, Kuno! The faggot has got you in a chokehold!
Kuno's not fucking choking.
He grabs his throat like he's joking. Choked you out there. Serves you right for using reactionary shit.
Like fuck you did. Kuno's gonna keep saying kipped forever now. Kipped.
He only gets 2 kips out before he coughs.
Shit. The fuck did you want anyway? You got your fuck bag down. Now let's talk normal shit.
Yeah, let's have normal conversation.
Shoot that shit at Kuno, pigonaught. Kuno doesn't fucking care.
That's great, Kuno. I don't either. Alright, let's make our way down there.